Hello everybody and welcome to my Afterthoughts video regarding the action-packed movie Face Off. Wow, I mean, as you guys know, I'm usually not the biggest fan of action movies, but this movie took me by surprise, I have to say. I was very entertained, I was very intrigued by the concept, and I really enjoyed watching this movie. Now, I also like the directing. I have to say, this really kind of stood out for me because the way it was directed, the whole style of the movie was very cool. Yes, very cool. You know, you had all those slow motions, you had the birds flying in slow motion, you had people jumping or walking in slow motion, you had a lot of cool close-ups. And I remember this scene at the beginning when Troy Castro stepped out of his car in slow motion and his trench coat was kind of flapping in the air and he had the appropriate sound effects. It's just all very cool, I have to say. So I have to take the hat off to the director, John Woo. He did an excellent job with this movie. Now, of course, what makes this movie unique was the entire concept. You know, the concept of switching out somebody's face. And I have to say, you have to be willing to suspend your beliefs a little bit, because in my opinion, this would not be possible. No, this would not be possible, especially not at such a perfect level they showed us in the movie. You know, perfect face, perfect hair, perfect body. That would not be possible. But if you can get over that and give yourself the freedom of just believing it, you know, then you're in it for a great ride. Then the movie becomes really interesting on different levels. I mean, just the fact, the psychological fact, if you imagine that this could really happen and now you have somebody else showing up in your house with your family, I mean, the psychological aspect of it and the dynamics between the characters was worthwhile, you know, to watch that movie. So very intriguing. And then also watching the acting was interesting, how the actors themselves played the other character. That was great. And if you know anything about acting, it's, you know, it's not just about walking a little bit different or talking a little bit different. No, if you want to come across convincing, then you have to build the entire character within you, so then the audience can even see in the actor's eyes that something changed, you know. And that's very intriguing if you understand acting. That was very well done, and that was great to just observe that process, you know. So good stuff. And then it was also interesting to see how those characters kind of became better men, you know. I mean, this Sean Archer, for example, he became a better husband to his wife, so to speak, you know, and he became a better father to his daughter, so to speak. And then on the other hand, you had this Troy Castro becoming a much more sympathetic boyfriend to Sasha, you know. So to watch all those dynamics play out was great. Really enjoyed it. And a scene that stood out, well, I guess everybody who watches Face Off and then talks about it afterwards, there's one scene that you just can't forget because it was so intense. It was the whole face switching procedure. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. I mean, that was just gut-wrenching. Watching that, I have to say, it made me a little bit nauseous. It was very well done, but not for the faint of hearts, man. Whew, gruesome stuff. So that was very intense, and I will never forget that for the rest of my life when I think about that movie. Wow, that was just crazy. And a standout moment, I would say many great moments, but I would probably pick the one with the big mirror when both characters stand in front of this mirror and point their gun at the mirror and they see the reflection of the face that doesn't really belong to them. You know, how crazy is that? Because behind the mask there is the true self, you know, just as behind the mirror is the other guy with your face. I mean, very, very symbolic and very layered, just as the concept played out, you know. So very, very interesting, good stuff. And then something to the whole action genre. As I said in the beginning, I'm not always the biggest fan of action movies, even though I have to say the action in this movie was just fantastic. I mean, that was mind-blowing, starting with this airplane chase, and then you had the whole hangar just explode, you know, and you had all those cool shootouts with the slow motion, and then the prison fight, you know, and the boat chase at the end, and the boat crashing through the police boat, and another big explosion. I mean, you know, crazy, fantastic. I don't think I would ever want to direct a movie like that, you know, but the action sequences very well done. Now, the problem I see sometimes is if you're a screenwriter or you watch a lot of movies, then you start to realize that, I mean, to me, story is the most important thing of any movie, you know. That's what intrigues me the most, is the story. And if you're a screenwriter, you know that every single scene should move the story forward. You could even analyze that down to one sentence a character says, you know, like the sentence spoken should either reveal something about the character or should move the movie forward, right? Because we don't want to be stuck. We want to see how the story moves forward. So in action sequences, you don't really have that, because you always kind of have to wait until the action sequence is over in order to see how the story continues. For example, you could have a bad guy, or let's say a good guy, chasing a bad guy for like 45 minutes. And that could be interesting with explosions and everything, but you kind of have to wait until the sequence is over in order to see how the story continues, because either the bad guy gets away or the bad guy is being caught. But in order to find that out, you have to sit there for 45 minutes and watch the entire action play out. And I know for some people that is not a problem. They love it, and that's great. I'm a little bit different. I get a little bit bored. I love good action sequences, you know, 2-3 minutes is fine, then let's get back to the story. But I don't kind of want to wait there for 10, 15, 20 minutes just to see how the movie continues. But that's just me, you know. Like I said, I really enjoyed that movie. I think the movie probably could have been a half an hour shorter, you know, if you cut that stuff a little bit back. But, you know, that's okay. I mean, I now cut together a movie that's only an hour long, a condensed version, of course. But I just felt that particular movie could easily be 20 minutes or even 30 minutes shorter and still would be awesome. But, you know, like I said, I loved the movie. I was entertained, even though the last action sequences were a little bit long. I mean, they were way too long. We literally had a shootout in the church, and then we had a shootout and a fight outside the church, and then they were running to the beach, and then the chase continued in the boat, and there was more shooting and more fighting and more explosions, and then finally they end up at the beach. But it's not over. There's more fighting and punching and back and forth until the guy finally nails him with the harpoon to the board, and then it was over. It was great, just a little bit too long, but I have to say I'm warming up a little bit more to action movies. So thank you so much for the recommendation, and I will see you in the next one, okay? Please subscribe. See you soon. Bye-bye.